crap.
Take
Okay,
two.
I'd like to do one video, but go ahead, let's keep going.
Take two. So we talked about there's water intrusion happening below the front porch, evident in the crawl space. There is a crawl space below this front porch. You'll see videos and pictures of that. The response to that is to manage the irrigation. Stop watering the house. Stop saturating the mulch beds to the point where it actually is permeating below the house. Other than that, maybe level out the soil underneath just so it's a little bit more even. But other than that, the crawl space actually looks really nice. You do have a large tree right here in the front of the house, and you got to be very careful with the root system there of it migrating below. It's probably time to do some management. It's actually almost pressing up against the house right in this corner. That won't be good long term, so you might want to consider doing something there, because that's just going to continue to, maybe 10 years from now, 12 years from now, whatever, but that is beginning to encroach on the house to the point where I would mention it in a report. So that's kind of that. If we go around that right side of the house, that's all of your pool equipment, your pool heater, your pumps.
We'll do that last.
We'll do that last.
Here, let's
Okay,
go
we'll
through.
go
Let's
right
go.
that way.
Let's go through the house this way.
Sure.
Let's go inside, where it's cooler. All right.
Okay. Now the floors are sloping due to the age of the house and settlement that happened in years past. But with all the work that they did below on the foundation, I really believe that has stopped. I don't see any evidence of current movement. But it is sloped. It's very characteristic of a house of this age. But you'll notice it when you walk in the house. But I think it's all been shored up from below and it has stopped moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you notice a little bit when you come in the front door, but that's not shocking.
Not on a house this age.
No.
It's kind of typical of a home from this era.
Right.
Fireplace is really abandoned. It's here, but they've capped off the chimney at the top, and it's kind of corroded and could use a paint job up there just to prevent further deterioration of the metal cap. But other than that, it's an aesthetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you would actually, if you ever wanted that to be an operating fireplace, you need a
gas
chimney sweep.
Isn't that a gas line right there?
It is, but you'd need a chimney sweep. It's all closed off though, so you need a chimney sweep to come in and make sure everything is cleaned out and operational, and obviously take the cap off if you wanted it.
But if you wanted to put a gas log in there, you wouldn't have to have a chimney. It'd be like a gas heater.
I know that, but I don't disagree, but I don't like it. I don't like it without a flue.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. The rest of my reports from the outside. James did the inside.
Okay.
So, I'll be about another 30 minutes. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Now the pool surface is aging. These last about 12 to 15 years tops. And if I had to guess, I'd say you're probably in the 8 to 10 year age. And you're beginning to get some gray modeling. That's sort of the splotchiness you'll get as these things age. You probably got 4 or 5 years left before you'd have to resurface it. However, there is damage on the seat at the other end. That needs to be addressed to prevent more water from migrating behind the finish. That water will continue to migrate behind the finish, and that will continue to grow over the years. I would just have that patched. If you're not going to have the surface or resurfacing done right away, at a minimum, I would have that patched.
Okay.
And then back over here is your pool equipment. The equipment's actually in pretty good shape. It's beginning to age a little bit. The pool heater is older, I'd say probably in the 10-year mark, but the pool heater fired right up. It's a gas heater, it fired right up. It works fantastically. It's just aesthetically beginning to look worn. And the motor itself is beginning to look a little bit worn. Just the paint finish peeling off it a little bit. Your air condenser is from 2014. The one issue that I have with that is there's an evaporator on the back end of it that's beginning to corrode. That's that blue cylindrical. That's a line dryer, they call that. And when they corrode, you can get a refrigerant leak. So I'd recommend having that replaced and avoiding any type of a refrigerant leak. Anything else? That is your air condenser for the main house. That's a 5-ton system. The air handler is located in the attic. The way they position the air handler in the attic is almost backwards. It's very difficult to service. I would have preferred it to be flipped around the other way so you could access things like the float switch in the door and pull the panels off to do any type of servicing. It's I think they just hooked it up to the existing return and supply, and that meant that its orientation it doesn't make it easy to service at all. It's working, it's functioning, it just makes it difficult to service. And it's 14 years old, so it's 9 years old. We kind of begin to say, be prepared to replace them when they get to be 10 or 12 years old. You should be budgeting for upgrading, and that's sort of, we're almost to that point.
Okay.
Your electrical system looks good. There's just one little item there. It's a minimal, they just got to put a little cover, a little safety cover on the inside. Very, very easy to do, no biggie, but they just need to make sure that, you know, that it's called a blank, and they just install it right there to resolve it. Everything else on the inside looks excellent. So the electrical fitted and updated, and it looks very, very good. In the guest house, you have what they call a mini split. It's a ductless system. There's no ductwork, just the condenser on the outside and the air handler on the inside. And that air handler needs a very